Okay, so what I'm doing here, as you maybe saw in the last video, is making holes for my stitches. So I've already marked the edge of the eye panel where all my stitches are going to go. Now, what you do with the Dutches, you first of all get your centerpiece. You can do it with the eye panels instead, but I use my centerpiece as the guide. And I run a 3mm overstitch wheel around the edge of the pattern and make my initial stitch marks, and then I make the holes. But before I make the holes, I take my eye panel, and it's also worth pointing out that I use a divider to measure the distance of the stitch line from the edge of the leather before I do this on both pieces. And then after that's done, when I've got my stitch line on here, but before my stitch line is on here, I will mate up the edges of the pattern like this, so you're all nice and flush, and I will transfer the stitch. I'll make a little line from this stitch mark here to the bottom of the corresponding line here, and then I will do the same all the way around, and as I mark I will roll the pattern around like this, so we're getting all our stitches even with the stitches over here. If you don't do this and you make your stitch line on here the same as here, you will end up with a hood that is either less than, well, I think it's usually less than or more than the edge of your tail here, so it might look like that. Because there is a longer distance around, I think either here or here, then that they are not even distances. I think you can actually make your patterns so that your stitches could be predetermined to where your stitch marks are. So like if you had a paper pattern where you already worked out the distance, you could punch the hole straight through. I think Antonio Ruiz does that in his video. But for my purposes, I'm still with this method. I learned this from the Ron Rowlands video, which if you're interested in hood making, starting out, Ron Rowlands did a very interesting video on YouTube where he shows you this method from the start, which is quite interesting to watch. But yeah, anyway, so when I'm actually following round after I've made my stitch marks, I'll go around with this little thing, which is a C.S. Osborne awl. I forget which number it is. It's maybe a 40A or something, but anyway, if you're interested in that, I'll look it up for you. It's been a while since I bought one. So what I'm doing is, here, I'm getting my little awl, and I'll see where my next stitch mark is going to be. And I'll pop my awl in just before the line, and I insert it into the leather at a downward angle, and the curve of it drives it into the leather and will bring us out just before the skin of the leather, because you want to go